Wandayi.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to seek clarification regarding the message you've just read to us. Mr. Speaker, you know, the standing orders allow us that the members of this House can address the Speaker on matters to do with the constitutionality of any business that comes before the House. Mr. Speaker, I've listened keenly to your message, and you referred the House to the Constitution Article 248, yes, that allows the National Security Council, with the approval of the House, to second or deploy members of the security forces outside the country. Mr. Speaker, I am at a loss as to whether the definition of the security forces under that article of the Constitution applies to the National Police Service. Because, Mr. Speaker, I recall the history of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. It was actually part of the attempt to reform our National Police Forces then to be a service. So the Constitution, in the way it is structured, does not actually view the National Police Service as a force. And therefore, I want to submit, Mr. Speaker, that that message is misdirected. It's misdirected in the sense that we have got no capacity as a House to authorize or purport to authorize the National Police Service, which is not a security force, as contemplated under the Constitution. So I want to plead with you, before the matter is seized of by the committees, that you do reconsider the message and come back with a considered ruling on the matter I am raising, because it is of immense public interest. This House can only act in accordance with the Constitution. This House cannot, at any one moment, any given moment, veer off the constitutional path, Mr. Speaker. So I want to plead with you that in spite of the apparent urgency of this deployment, that you retreat and do a considered judgment or ruling on this matter, because as a House we shall have set a very dangerous precedent if you are to be found in the fullness of time to have acted ultra-vires the Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader. I can dispose of that without your response, but you can go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, let me thank you for that message. Honorable Speaker, I've listened to what the Honorable Leader of Minority portends. And, you know, Honorable Speaker, one would even argue, if it is not a constitutional requirement, then we even have no role in this matter. And we must appreciate that the President and indeed the Executive has been very magnanimous that to seek, because we are the people's representatives, including officers who are serving in the National Youth Service, those serving in the National Police Service, and those serving in our defense forces. We represent them as representatives of the people. Honorable Speaker, it is important for this House to be able to consider certain questions that linger in the minds of Kenyans. For instance, if we are going to deploy any of our armed forces or servicemen anywhere, are we going to incur money that should have been appropriated by this House? I therefore find it to be a fairness, Honorable Speaker, that this House would even be questioning why we are being asked to ask questions. Because, Honorable Speaker, just like the President was magnanimous enough to ask that his cabinet secretaries be accountable to the House and to the people of Kenya through their elected representatives, Honorable Speaker, it is the same thing the Executive is seeking to be accountable to the people of Kenya who are represented here by us as members of Parliament. And, Honorable Speaker, I therefore find that that message is properly before this House, and the committee, as you have directed, should be able to consider it and answered those pertinent questions. Top among them for me, Honorable Speaker, we never appropriated any resources to deploy forces outside of this country other than what we approved for the Kenya Defense Forces in the DRC. Therefore, if we are deploying our police service to Haiti, who is going to pay for the bill? I am waiting for the committee to deal with that question and tell us whether we need to appropriate more resources or whether someone else is paying, because if it is a UN mission, then the rest of the world should be able to pay for our servicemen. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, yes, Kenan. I don't want to encourage this.